Kenneth Kolton writes, Hail Movie Talkers. My question is about JJ Abrams and the pressure he has on himself to deliver not only a good Star Wars film, but also please many fans, most of the AMC crew included, who dislike the prequels and also may be worried about how this film will turn out. Do you think the expectations are at insane levels, or are people underestimating Abrams' work?
No, I don't think anybody's underestimating JJ Abrams. I think we all know how good he is and how good he can be. But I'm not a blind JJ Abrams fanboy, right? Like there was that movie Super 8, which I know a number of people really like. I thought it was a weak film. I really do. The thing about Super 8 was, a lot of people remember, that was JJ Abrams had 2 ideas for movies that he took to Steven Spielberg. I had this, because I actually listened to JJ Abrams tell this story in Vegas, where he's like, he had this idea about that love we had as kids making our own movies with Super 8 cameras. And I got this idea for this movie, for this would be this. Then he went to Spielberg, I got this other idea for a movie. A train coming out of Area 51 crashes and something escapes and all mayhem. And Steven Spielberg said to him, you know what? The one with the kids, not exciting enough. The one with the monster, not enough heartstrings. Put them together. and my problem with Super 8 to me is that it very much felt like 2 totally separate ideas just mashed together. So I'm not a blind JJ Abrams fanboy, but we're all very aware of how good this guy, what he's done with Star Trek, I thought is incredible. But as far as, you know, the huge, do we have high expectations? Yes. But what JJ has working for him and what Lucasfilm and Disney have working for them are that the prequels are so bad that the bar is not that high right now. Like I am just on my knees every night. Just make it pretty okay. Give me a Star Wars movie that's at least just pretty okay. Make it even good. Make it good. Like this Star Wars movie, this first one, I actually believe it's going to be awesome. But it doesn't have to be awesome. Just make it good. And those of us who suffered through the era of the prequels, we're going to be really happy. And it'll be a good starting point, and hopefully they'll get better from there. But I also think the chances are pretty good that Abrams is just going to give us one hell of a Star Wars movie. But yeah, I don't think the bar is all that high. Mark, what do you think?
I think it's got to be really good, and I think it's got to be better than just good, simply because of everything that Disney's invested in future Star Wars films, where people are willing to go see The Force Awakens and be like, let's just say that we were just doing a new trilogy. We were just doing episodes 7, 8, and 9, and it comes out and it's okay. People are still going to go see 8 because there's enough of a storyline to get them intrigued, and then they're going to go see 9 because, A, you love going to a Star Wars movie. It's an event. You love sitting in the theater and getting excited to see outer space Star Wars, but now they have all these other films. They have this anthology of movies that's coming out. You have all these TV shows. You have everything, all this art that is being created in the Star Wars universe, and a lot of it hinges on the success of The Force Awakens. When you talk about canon, you're talking about everybody, and they can say whatever they want. Canon is for movies, and then everything else is going to play off of those. I know that they're writing books, and there's 20 books coming out before The Force Awakens does, but that's all contingent upon the Brain Trust meeting and saying, this is our story, and nobody else mess it up, because these are the stories that we're telling in the movies. So yeah, this movie's got to be really good. Now, for me personally, I look more forward to the Star Wars experience than I do the actual quality of the film. And I know that sounds weird to say, but I loved it. Just like watching the trailer, I lived off that I'm still living off that. And when I go see the movie, just the excitement of being a Star Wars fan and knowing that I'm about to see this thing happen. We're going to see Han Solo and Chewie, and I'm probably going to weep at some point and embarrass my grown man self. But that's what I look forward to more than the quality of the film. Now, every other time that I go see the movie, it's got to hold up. That was the problem with The Phantom Menace to me. First time I saw The Phantom Menace, I thought it was awesome, because I just saw a new Star Wars movie for the first time in 16, 17 years. Now, every time I saw The Phantom Menace after that, I was like, ew, that Jar Jar guy, God, he's got a lot of camera time, huh? So it's got to be good, because it needs to hold up time after time after time, and it needs to help hold up all the other things that are coming out afterwards.
Schnapp, how good does the new Star Wars have to be?
Misa not so worried about the new Star Wars. Misa okay with JJ.
Is that Paddington and Jar Jar together?
It's a little combination, both of them. Hey, oh, I shit myself.
We can say that on air. I am not worried at all about JJ Abrams.
How dare you, Paddington? We raised you better than that.
I think JJ is the guy he's the go-to guy. He took Star Trek and remade it as Star Wars. Basically, he just draped Star Wars over Star Trek, and people realized, why don't we get that guy to make Star Wars? And, you know, if you guys read the Vanity Fair article that came out, there was a little clip in there, a little article about George Lucas, and he was already working on another Star Wars film, but it was all about teenagers. And I didn't even read any more. I was like, all right, let me go. And then the guy Arndt that they had hired, he had never even gotten to the screenplay stage. And they were like, that's why he was like, he had Post-its and different ideas, tons of ideas. And that's when Abrams and Kasdan came in and they were like, all right, dude, good job. You've got some stuff that we can jump off of. We got 6 months before we're shooting the movie. We got to rock a script. And I think that pressure cooker TV mentality that JJ thrives on, all of that television, you don't have that kind of time that movies do. Movies, you're like, oh, we only have 6 months before we start shooting. Television is 2 weeks. Try that on. That's intense pressure. If we don't have a script, you're there every night until that script works. Television, believe me, coming from television, it's intense. So movies to me is like, oh, it's like a walk in the park. What do you mean? I got 5 months of pre-pro? You know what I mean? It's amazing. So it's like, for those guys to have those 6 months to really invest and to know that JJ is a giant Star Wars fan, was able to bring to the table Lawrence Kasdan, the guy who wrote two of the best Star Wars movies, Empire and Jedi. I don't know. To me, it's like, I have a lot of high expectations. I was one of those people who was in the first screening of The Phantom Menace at the Grauman's, and halfway through the movie, I looked at my chair in front of me and I said, I can't believe I'm bored at a Star Wars movie. And I hated the film. And that's the first screening. And I love Star Wars. So for me, I can't wait to see this movie on many levels. But to me, it's almost the promise they made to me when I was 9 years old. They were like, we're going to make 9 movies or 12 movies. And all of these, the Skywalkers and all these people are going to be in it. And to know that that's happening is so magical to me, to know that not only is Han and Leia and Luke, they're the age they're supposed to be in. It's a mind freak when you think about how crazy everything. It's just so, everything is aligning to be such a magical experience that you're right. It just has to be good. That they actually got all these actors from 30 years ago, from our childhood, to come back and be part of this magic space opera fairy tale is such a coup that if this film is above and beyond, I think people are just going to explode. I don't even know how people are going to handle it, because it really is. It's soaked in our fabric of everyone who's grown up, especially here. It's like, we love films, we love Star Wars. There were a bunch of really bad Star Wars movies were made, and that there is the dividing line. We have a lot of young viewers who watched all 6 movies in order, so they don't see the difference really, because they didn't see the first 3 and then the prequels later as like, wow, this is messing everything up. Instead, they saw it as like, well, those last ones were a lot better. You know what I mean? It's a weird spin. So long story short, I cannot wait to see the Star Wars movie, and I think it's in the right hands with someone like JJ, especially just all the worlds that he's already helped create and mold. You have things that didn't work out. Maybe Lost the last season was horrible, but he wasn't even involved in it. So it's sort of, you got to give people breaks and passes. Like you give them what was
Super
it?
8.
Super 8. I mean, I liked it. I liked Super 8, but I didn't hate it like or dislike it as much as you. But there were problems with it. So I think this film is going to hit it out of the park. I'm hoping it does.